ShortMeTina.com with my daily recap. Today is Thursday, I lost count, day 14, 15 of COVID, Rona, I'm not sure. But we're well into it. Gotten somewhat accustomed, and take note, like I've worked from home, I want to say for the last 4 years. So this isn't necessarily new for me, but it's new in the sense that I am restricted. The whole quote unquote stay at home movement. And so, again, while working from home is no stranger to me, I've been doing it for the past 4 years, just being constricted and not being able to move freely about or without being cognizant of, the 6 feet of social distancing or not washing hands. Obviously you wash your hands, but the constant washing your hands and just like this level of awareness to your surroundings in that regards. It's quite new and to a degree very overwhelming. I mean, I literally wipe everything, right? And wash everything. It's becoming almost OCD. So if we have a generation of folks who come out of this, you know what? Let me not even go there because the OCD, it's very clinical terminology, and I don't want to make light of it. So I'm not even gonna go there. Strike from the record. And I don't mean to jump into this video with a rant, but I'll be honest with you, being locked in is kind of getting to me, but we're gonna get through it. Obviously, let's stay positive right now. What we're trying to do, obviously, is flatten that curve. Once we get behind this entire thing, I'm pretty sure our lives will go on. I can't even say it's going to return to normal, but I'm sure everyone will be just happy that this is all over with. So let's do what we can to contain this virus so we can all get back to our lives as quickly as possible. So, with that said, thank you for listening to that rant, and thank you for tuning into, again, another daily recap video. What we're going to do right now is we're going to start off with the SPY, the S&P 500, as I typically do in typical fashion. Why? If you're new, you'll know that I always want to pay attention to the overall markets first, 100%. Why? Because overall markets first, individual stocks second. Remember that overall markets first, individual stocks second, because you need to know what the overall markets is doing because it really will dictate what's going on underneath. So the fact that today we were up a whopping actually, this is a weekly chart. It's not a daily chart. I'm not sure if I said daily or weekly. It's a weekly chart. This week alone, and it's not even Friday, we're up a whopping 14% in the SPY. I think it's a bit higher in the Dow, right? 14%. We hit a low this week of 218.26. I believe that happened on Monday. And right now we sit at 260.93 with a high of 262.80. I mean, it is like 100% blowing my mind. And so what we've been talking about, I want to say for the last 2 weeks is, well, how far will the markets fall? This was last week when the markets were, or the last, let's say 2 to 3 weeks when the market was in a complete free fall. And now the question is, now that we've rallied about 15% this week, and I believe with the Dow it's off about 20% from its low, whether or not we've placed in a bottom and that's it. And in terms of the market, this pullback or this bear market it's all but behind us, and we're ready to continue marching forward, right? And so what's the debate is whether or not it's going to be, and I'll talk about this maybe tomorrow, whether it's going to be a V-shaped rally, which means essentially at this point we're just going to continue going up and up, essentially forming a V, right? Maybe I'll just talk about it now, right? So a V shape will look something like this, right? So if we bottomed, then all you'll see is this like upward move. It's similar to what we saw here in 2018, right? It didn't have any sort of a retest, right? We just bottomed and we kept moving. So for me personally, I do not think, again, considering what's going on, unemployment numbers came in today and it was like a whopping 3.2 million. Think about that, 3.2 million. And even with that, the market still went on to put up 6%. So a lot of conventional wisdom is really being turned upside down right now in this market. So I keep saying so, but it's just, I'm trying to really sort of wrap my mind around it myself. Anyway, with that said, 3 million in unemployment claims, no real, although, President Trump is saying that he really wants to sort of reopen the markets within not the markets, just reopen quote unquote society within the next week or two, maybe even 3 weeks. Despite all of that, I mean, we don't know how long this is going to last. Right. You want to be optimistic. Obviously, an American, I believe in our science. I believe in this country. I'm 100% sure we're going to get over this, but the question is how long? And so I'm not quite sure if the market is really sort of, although it's supposed to be a future looking mechanism, I'm not quite sure if it's really taking all of that into account as of yet. So for me, I say all that to say, and I had no intention of this video being this long, so I'm going to wrap it up really quick. I have two other stocks I want to get to. I say all that to say I'm not quite sure we've placed the bottom here at 218.26. What I would really like to see happen, two things. One, I would like for us to retest the most recent lows of 218, which I think that's a huge pullback, right? You look at the high of 233, the low of 218. That's, I think, a pullback of over 30%. I think that's good, right? I don't think we necessarily need to fall 40. I don't think we need an additional 10 to 20% of downside. Although that can happen, I don't think it's necessary. But I would like for us to retest the 218.26 lows. And again, to measure the strength of the bulls or the bears, right? Can the bulls defend that line, right? Can 218 be the low, or will the bears drive it down a bit more? So with that said, I think that this rally will be short-lived. I think you're going to see a pullback soon to the tune of maybe 10 to 15%, perhaps all that we've put up this week, or at least a fraction of what we put up this week. And so I am personally positioning myself, or looking to position myself. And I didn't enter any new trades this week, right? No, I didn't enter any new trades this week. So I'm actually looking at the markets pulling back to position myself for next week. And so if things bear out, then I'm going to be putting on a bit more short positions next week versus long. So all I'm paying attention to right now with the SPY is for a pullback to that 218 level. And even if we want to retest 200 to 2010 support, even better, right? So if we can even stay up there, then for me, things for the most part would look fair. Yeah, that's kind of sort of it in a very long-winded way. What else? All right, and so Boeing really quickly, again, let's contain this to about 10 minutes total. This is a weekly chart. Remember, I'm saying in relation to what I just spoke about with the SPY, I'm expecting a pullback, considering we're up about 15% in a week. If we rally tomorrow, that would be, maybe north of 20% in 1 week. Too much too fast, in my opinion. Again, this is just an opinion. And the fact that I'm anticipating a pullback, I'm looking for stocks to short, and I'm just going to throw it out there. That's not to say that I'm actually going to short it. It's something that it's going to be on my watch list, and you're privy to it. Obviously, if I end up shorting Boeing, I will inform the members in my premium member community in terms of levels, etc. Now, another stock up 90%. Boeing is up 90% in 1 week. 1 week, right? Last week, the stock was trading as low as, hear this, as low as $89. Today, we closed at 180.55, with the high being 186.48. Do the math from the low of last week. I believe that's 100% gain, or a little bit over 100 from the low last week to this week's high. This week, we placed 90%. For me, too fast, too soon. I think that this can be cut in half, presenting at least at minimum a 25%, pullback, a stock that I'm looking to short. All right, so put it on your radar, and we're going to wrap it up with ticker T. All right, so again, we're going to wrap it up with ticker TLRY. Let me switch to the daily chart. Tilray, a YouTuber, one of the comments asks whether or not I've been paying attention to these marijuana stocks. I've been paying attention to pot stocks, I want to say, for the last 2 or 3 years. We traded in and out of several of them successfully, I want to say, in 2018, 2019. Tilray was actually a trade we got into last week in the premium member community when the stock was trading in the twos. It didn't materialize right away, but it did not take a long time for us to see over 20-25% in profit. I also had this particular stock on my weekly watch list, right, which I release every Sunday for free to my email subscribers. So if you're not on that list, make sure that you are. And I just basically said here, we went long, and I'm going to paraphrase, I can't read all this. We went long TLRY. In the premium member community, we were able to get double-digit returns in a short period of time. I said volatile markets can present good short-term trading opportunities. I said to place Tilray on your watch list because I think it's poised for a second run. And I made a notation here that the stock was once $300, it's now $3. And I said all that to say, if you had a stock that at one point was $300, no way am I saying that it's going to get there. Absolutely none. But to go from at least the initial price point we got into it around the twos to 4 was a possibility to me. 2 to 6, and I even said that. I said I believe it was, look at the last video I did on Tilray. I think it was either earlier this week or late last week, where I said I can see $6 in the card. The stock was trading at around 3 at that point. So from in that short span, from I want to say either this week or last week to now, the stock almost doubled. Did a lot more than I expected it to do in such a short period of time. Granted, we closed at 790, but the high today was 970, and from our initial buy zone, I mean, I don't even know, that's what, a 300% gain in like a week. So like there's these, and that's one of the things that I've really been paying attention to as I've had all these, like this downtime. I implore and encourage you to do that as well. I mean, pick up, and if you want some good suggestions on trading books, I have a gazillion that I've read. I mean, I just am fascinated by this stuff, but pay attention to the markets. Like, pull up a few stock, read some of my blogs. Obviously make sure you're a part of my emailing list. Again, read books, learn. And so for me, what I've been doing, although I've been in the stock market for the last 20 years, I'm always looking for that extra edge, right? Always looking to see if there's a strategy out there that's going to provide better returns. And I honestly believe I have stumbled on one. Obviously, I need to do a little bit more back testing and just kind of like just do a bit more fine tuning, but I'm liking the results so much so far. But yeah, so I say all that to say I implore you to do the same thing, right? Like, I'm a vehicle. You can use me as a vehicle to learn if you're relatively new, but, have a level of faith in yourself that you too can discover like these sort of discrepancies in the market where you can kind of exploit to make money for yourself. All right, hope that makes sense. Anyway, so back to Tilray. It's a daily chart, closed at 790, up around 970. The 200-day here, it's around 20. That red line here represents resistance to me, which is around $14. So for me, there's a possibility that the stock can get there. Obviously, you want to pay attention to, at least for tomorrow, right? At least for tomorrow, you want to pay attention to how the stock opens up. Right now, we pulled back from the high of 970, but if we open up above 790 tomorrow, we take out the high of 970, it might actually be on its way to 14, right? Again, this stock went to 300 at one point, so going from 3 to 14, I don't think it's going to take that much. So I'm still encouraging you to put ticker TLRY on your radar and your watch list, and we're going to cap it there. Tina here once again from ShortMeTina.com. If you enjoyed any portion of that video, do 3 things for me. 1, comment in the comment section, thumbs up, let me know what's going on, how you're dealing with the lockdown. Do you have a lockdown in place in wherever you're at? Again, because I have members in well over, I want to say 60 countries. So I know folks are all over. I'm based out here in the U.S. Let me know, is there a lockdown in your country or your city? How are you dealing with it? Let's exchange ideas. I mean, I've been doing everything. Anyway, so like, comment in the comment section. 2, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel at ShortMeTina. I do videos every single day. And this is the last thing. 3rd thing, right now, what we're doing on our website, we're hosting a free, that is FREE, free 14-day trading course, essentially discussing a lot of the things that I've learned, not this new trading strategy that I'm working out, but a lot of things that I've learned trading the stock market for the last 20 years. If you're finding it, not in this particular environment, because it's a very tough environment, but prior to that, if you had found that, you're having difficulties in the market and you want a bit of guidance, well, that's what we provide for free. Again, detailing in that trading course things that I've learned trading the stock market for the last north of 20 years. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely head on over to our website, ShortMeTina.com. Sign up, become a member, Thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for the support.